Tim, thank you for your kind words. Working for me is not an easy task. And I was afraid he might accuse me of a human rights violation. So, I have spent literally half of my life working on Chinese-American relations. And I did so. I like the Chinese people. I am impressed by Chinese culture. But in the positions that I have had, I have to look at the American interests. And I am convinced that Chinese-American relations depend on an understanding that the two countries have a unique ability to bring peace and progress to the world. And they also have a unique ability to destroy the world if they're not together. This is the necessity that I see. And let me put it into 4 categories. 1, the basic relationship between China and the United States. 2nd, the issue of Taiwan. 3rd, the war in the Ukraine. And 4th, the advancing technology, which could by itself drive the nations into conflict. I believe now, as I believed 50 years ago, that we can find our way through these difficulties. When the 2 presidents meet in San Francisco, as I hope they will, I hope that they will find words to express the reality that they are devoted to peace with each other, and that they will make every effort to avoid it and create institutions which permit us to talk to each other at the highest level, easily and continuously. With respect to Taiwan, I was present when the agreement, the Shanghai Agreement, was made. So we in America have to avoid giving the impression that we are walking away from the one China concept to which we committed ourselves, and I was there at the drafting of it. So that was a real commitment. In the Shanghai communique, we expressed the American conviction that this goal should be reached by peaceful means. So both sides have a marker towards which they can move. In the war in Ukraine, China has so far not committed itself, and the United States has not criticized China for its conduct. And finally, I want to say a word about technology. The danger lies not in what the 2 statesmen do right away, but in technology itself, and in the danger that we decouple ourselves totally from China in this enterprise. The reason this concerns me is because in nuclear weapons, they can be counted, and their aspects may be known. But artificial intelligence is in the minds of people, and so certain restraints should now be agreed to in the near future before we are driven by our technology into a conflict that we should not want. But all of this amounts to my conviction that a peaceful relationship, a cooperative relationship between China and the United States is essential for peace and progress in the world. And I've given you these examples not as a policy statement, because that would require a much longer discussion, but as an expression of what this committee has stood for in all its existence. And we have contributed to this evolution. And I'm confident that all of you here will agree that peace and progress between China and the United States is in the self-interest of each country and in the interest of the world. Thank you for asking me to come here and make a few remarks. All the best in this effort that this committee has made, and that all of you, I hope, are devoted to. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Kissinger, Secretary Geithner, President Ollins, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, everyone. It is a great pleasure to attend the Gala Dinner 2023 of the National Committee on U.S.-China Relations and get together with friends, old and new. First, I have the honor to read the congratulatory letter from His Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China. Chair Lu and President Ollins, friends, on the occasion of your Gala Dinner 2023, I wish to extend my appreciation to the National Committee on U.S.-China Relations and its members for the long-time commitment to promoting exchanges and cooperation in all fields between the two countries. I also wish to congratulate Dr. Henry Kissinger on being recognized as this year's honoree. The Chinese people will always remember his historic contribution to China-US relations. As two major countries in the world, whether China and the United States can find a right way to get along with each other bears on world peace and development and the future of humanity. China is ready to work with the United States in the three principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation. to advance mutually beneficial cooperation, properly manage differences, jointly address global challenges, and to help each other succeed and prosper together to the benefit of both countries as well as the world. I hope that the National Committee and friends from all sectors will continue to care for and support China-US relations and play a constructive role in facilitating the sound and steady development of our bilateral relations. Xi Jinping, President, the People's Republic of China. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the congratulatory letter, President Xi commended the National Committee and Dr. Kissinger for their important contribution to promoting China-US relations. He expounded on the necessity and significance of finding a right way for China and the United States to get along with each other, and reiterated China's goodwill for a sound and stable China-US relationship. President Xi noted in the letter, as two major countries in the world, whether China and the United States can find a right way to get along with each other bears on world peace and development and the future of humanity. Today, our two countries are again at a crossroads. The course of history will be shaped by whether we can draw inspiration from the past, seize the opportunities at present, and find a right way forward to create a brighter future. Throughout the history, China-US relations have kept moving forward on the whole. The past half a century and more have witnessed the China-US relationship forging ahead against all the odds. Today, our two-way trade and investment stand at $760 billion and $240 billion respectively. Over 70,000 American companies are doing business in China, and the United States has invested in nearly 80,000 projects in China. Trade between us has supported more than 2.6 million jobs in the United States. Before the pandemic, 3 million Chinese tourists visit United States annually, contributing over $30 billion. While a lot has changed in the overall context and both our countries, the historic logic underlying this growth of the China-US relationship has not changed. The importance of the relationship for our respective development and world prosperity is not to be underestimated. The aspiration of our peoples for peace and friendship is not to be dismissed. And the efforts of generations of peoples and our extensive common interests are not to be denied. While China-US relations will not return to the past, it does not mean we should start all over again, still less turning back the wheel of history. What we should do is to build on the joint efforts by generations of leaders, including Dr. Kissinger, and peoples with vision in both countries. Learn from history and forge into the future. At present, stabilizing China-US relations is a common aspiration. Recently, our two countries have had a series of high-level interactions. China has resumed group tours to the United States. Direct flights were increased to 48 every week. Dialogue and exchanges between the think tanks, provinces and states, and the legislature are on the rise. These positive signs of a more stable China-US relationship have been welcomed by various communities in our two countries, as well as the international community. If we can learn anything from the ups and downs in China-US relations over the past few years, it is that conflict between China and the United States should never be allowed. Decoupling will never work. Cold War confrontation will lead nowhere. Reversing the downward spiral is a shared wish, and messing up this relationship serves no one's interest. Meanwhile, serious difficulties and grave challenges still abound. But to our encouragement, supporters of exchanges and cooperation between China and the United States are never absent. Friends from the US business and the strategic communities have been visiting China, calling for seizing China's opportunities and further tapping its market. A few days ago, I made a trip to Muscatine, the city President Xi Jinping first visited in 1985. I am more convinced that the hope and foundation of China-US relationship lie in the people, and its future lies in the youth. It is the warm-hearted, hard-working, and open-minded American people, just like those of Iowa, who define what America truly is. Going forward, we need to find a right way for China and the United States to get along in the new era. We will be celebrating the 45th anniversary of the establishment of China-US diplomatic ties next year. The China-US relationship will continue to be the most important bilateral relationship in the world. Neither side can transform or displace the other. It is China's consistent belief that our two countries should be partners, not rivals, that we should pursue win-win game or win-win outcomes, not zero-sum game, and that we should together stabilize and improve this relationship, not allow it to slide into conflict or confrontation. The three principles outlined by President Xi Jinping, namely mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation, represent our long-term and fundamental approach to China-US relations and provide a guideline for exploring the path forward. Among these, the most important thing is that we should respect each other's core interests, and among which Taiwan and other questions that are important and sensitive should be handled in a prudent way, in accordance with the One China principle, as well as the three joint communiques between China and the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, the famous Chinese writer, more high-level interactions are underway. In 2 days, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will visit the United States. We hope the US side will work with China in the same direction, shorten the negative list, expand the positive agenda, and bring China-US relations back to the right track of sound and stable growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the famous Chinese writer Lu Xun wrote in the 1920s that there was no road in the world at the start. Just when many people walked by, a road was hence formed. President Abraham Lincoln said, always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other one thing. The growth of China-US relations could not be achieved without the strategic guidance of our leaders, nor will it be achieved without the participation and support by people from various communities in both countries. The National Committee is a committed advocate of China-US cooperation. Dr. Kissinger is a trailblazer and icebreaker. Let me take this opportunity to again extend my warm congratulations to Dr. Kissinger for being this year's honoree. Thank you. This is a moment that again calls for the strategic courage to break out of the cocoon, the wisdom of diplomacy to seek common ground while reserving differences, and the commitment the distinguished generation has shown us who has visited while reserving differences, and the commitment the distinguished centenarian has shown us who has visited China more than 100 times, including one after his 100th birthday. I count on the National Committee and all our friends here to continue playing a leading role in restoring China-US relations back to the right track. Together, let us explore a path of win-win cooperation between China and the United States for the benefits of both peoples and the world. Thank you very much.
To be able to share the stage with two NBA All-Stars, what, 7 times for you and 8 times for you, yeah? Is that right? You lost track. It was, if I named all the awards that these guys won, we wouldn't have time for this discussion. This summer, I visited the Olympic Museum in Switzerland, and they had a quote from Jesse Owens, the famous American athlete who won 4 gold medals in track in the 1936 Olympics. He said, "Friendship born on the field of athletic strife are the real gold of competition. Awards become corroded. Friends gather no dust." The two of you come from entirely different backgrounds, yet your friendship represents exactly what Jesse Owens was talking about. Can you talk about how your friendship developed?
Well, we were teammates. Is my mic on? Mike, one check. You can hear me? Okay. Oh, sorry about that. So I had my 4 years in Orlando. And after that 4th year, it was a very frustrating season. And I was looking to, at that time, basketball in the NBA was about a wing player and a big man. And at that time, you had Shaq and Kobe, you had Tony Parker and Tim Duncan. And then you had this guy right here to my left, who was young, trying to find his way in the league, but you saw the potential. And for me, I figured if, I could go team up with him, maybe we can, do something special in the NBA as being teammates. And from the first day, I mean, what can I say? I've already had relationships with China by going since it was 1998, it was my first time. And every year I just kept going. So was familiar with the culture. And when we became teammates, I mean, it was really just colliding those culture differences together. And, basketball for us is, we're very passionate about it. And it brought us together on the court and also off the court. But I realized how big this really was between us two when we were a part of the first Asian Games in 2005. And that was a joy to be a part of.
From your perspective, yeah.
Actually, that's 2004.
Okay, all right. I'm off.
Well, for me, well, I remember a movie. That actually reminds me of a movie. You remember that movie talk about legendary baseball guy, Jackie Robinson?
Yeah.
42. After I watched that movie, I think it's like a culture shock in there. Obviously, for me as a Chinese player who joined the NBA, I don't want to say that, but especially in Texas, I thought I prepared everything, before I came to I came to Rocket, come to Houston, that I try to study some English, some other books to learn something about how I can survive in this league right there. But suddenly, when you're running into a bunch of a teammate like this, especially like teammate, that you still you're never preparing enough. I feel you're never preparing enough. I remember the first practice when I practiced officially. I practiced with him. We've been forbidden practice together before the training camp start. That's a league policy or something. All right. It's a lot of things happen on court. Something is really off the record. It's really off the record, but basketball is a sport that can put us together. Regarding those misunderstanding of a language, because, be honestly, I'm not perfectly speak English until today. You're not speaking Chinese at all.
You speak you're a lot better than
But
you
I
were
learned
back then.
trash talk from you.
Yes. Yes, you did a great job.
Like the one I just gave to you.
Yes.
You trash talk, Tracy?
Just a little bit. And I had to but it wasn't reciprocated, though. I had to learn trash talk from my Chinese teammates and not Yao. So, I helped you out. You didn't help me out when I went to CBA, but it's cool.
Well, I try to keep my advantage.
Okay, all right.
So, what year was that you then went to? How long were you in the Rockets before you joined, or was it simultaneous?
You came in 2002?
Yeah, I joined the team in 2002.
And what year did you
was
join?
2004, 2005.
So you operated without Tracy for a few years, but it wasn't as much fun.
Oh, that's fun. Also fun. Oh, come on.
One of the great moments, I attended the opening of the Olympics on August 8th, 2008. And watching you, Yao, lead the Chinese team with the Chinese flag on one side and holding the hand of a 9-year-old boy on the other who had been a hero in the Wenchuan earthquake. What did that, the whole world was watching. What did that feel like?
Well, there's about 2 months ago, there's another guy asked me the same question, which is just suited to me. Suddenly, I don't know where this answer come from. It's also from another movie, you know. It's like, remember,
movies, yeah.
hey, I learned my English from those movies. Titanic, remember that movie, Titanic?
I think we all watched Titanic.
Yeah. You want to sing a song?
You
for
just
us?
watched that? You just?
Don't mention another movie.
I'm not.
Okay. At the very end, remember that old Rose? He said, I don't even have a picture of him. He only exists in my memory. You know, when you just ask me how I feel about the 2008 Olympics, it's exactly the same feel. That I cannot explain how I feel about it, but it only exists in my memory. That's how I feel, maybe.
It wasn't a deeply emotional moment. In other words, I keep a tape of the 2008 Olympic highlights because it's so uplifting. And part of it is the video of you coming into the NBC had provided it, but it's you coming into the stadium. What did you feel seeing your teammate walk into the stadium in Beijing that day?
Proud, because I know him personally. I know he was standing up there watching him. He was a great representation of China. Couldn't have a better person. You know, to think that watching this guy and there's 1 billion people that's behind him and rooting him on, you have to feel something, Yao. I mean, Jesus. Yeah. You got to feel something. But, you know, I was just proud watching my teammate up there in the Olympics because I knew how much it meant, not only for him, but for China.
Yep. You've both experienced playing in a foreign country. Obviously, you playing here, Tracy, you playing in China for Qingdao, right?
Qingdao, very cold.
Very cold?
Very cold. Very, very, very cold. Beautiful city, though, but very cold.
What were some of the obstacles that you faced, and were they unique to a Chinese in America and an American in China?
It's basketball. I think, you know, just really adapting to a different game. Again, you know, all my Chinese players, they spoke Chinese. I didn't speak any Chinese, so, but I did pick up, you know, a few basketball terminologies as I went on through that season.
Like what basketball terminology did you pick up in Chinese?
I picked up like how to tell my teammates to rebound. You know, I always think I get fouled when I go to the hole, so I know Fanguila. Fanguila. Talk to the ref, my Fanguila. You know, so, and yeah, rebound, lob and jaw. You know, like I've learned some terminology, but at that time for me, and this is, you know, this is why I appreciate and I always be indebted and love China. Like that, I consider China my second home. It was a time, like, we as basketball players, we love being celebrated. So in the NBA, when you're on top of your game, you're being celebrated by fans. And Yao has gotten this. I've received this in my time of playing. When you're at the free throw line and you're having one of those, you know, amazing seasons, and you're standing at the free throw line, and you got 18 to 20,000 people chanting MVP, right? Like, that, I can't tell you how that feels. It's an amazing feeling when you're out there on the basketball court and there are other pros, but the MVP chants are for you individually. So by this time of me going to China, I wasn't the same player because I've dealt with injuries. So those chants and everything, the last 4 years of my career had died down. Going to China, when the day that I announced that I was playing in the CBA, sold the CBA out. And my very first game, when I tell you it brought that energy, that love, that passion back, which I've lost for like 4 years, China brought that back. It like revitalized my career. and my love for the game of basketball. So I'm always indebted.
Now, cultural differences that you experienced in Houston.
I'm sorry, pardon again.
Cultural differences being Chinese and suddenly being in Texas playing basketball. Must have been a pretty big shock.
Well,
Food, because he loves to eat.
I noticed, having spent the last 2 days with him, he does love to eat.
first of all, in China, we don't have American football. You know, that's one of the most popular sports in Texas. And you have to watch some of those, right? Secondly, that, well, everything is bigger in Texas, that's for sure.
You just added to it.
That's for sure. And everything is so far away in Texas because the landscape is so big. You know, my hometown is in Shanghai.
There's 20 million people in your hometown.
Yeah.
So it's far away in China as well. No?
I mean, like in China, I mean in Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Well, that's 25 million people.
All right, 25 million people.
And so I'm not. It's almost like you living in the city, like in Houston. That when I heard neighborhood, how far is that? I said, no, not far. Like 45 minutes drive. Okay, that's not far. So how far is far?
You got a point.
Yeah, the population density is a little different from Shanghai,
Yeah, for sure.
to say the least. Did playing basketball kind of help you, Tracy, adjust to kind of life in China? In other words, was it really the lever that got you involved and made you?
No, you got to understand. This is 2013, I think, when I played in China. I've been going to China since 1998. So I'm very familiar of the culture. I'm right at home. Actually, I just got back from China 2 weeks ago. So when I go to China,
What were you doing there 2 weeks ago?
I went to the Asian Games. I was over there with Yao. We saw the Chinese national team win the championship. That was amazing. But I just visiting my partners, and that's the beauty about China. Not being celebrated in the NBA for so many years, and you kind of lose your mojo and your deals go away. Not with China. Like that really doesn't matter. It's who you are as a player, who you are as a person is really what matters. And I've established some long life partnerships and friendships since I've been going.
Yeah.
Wow. You my friend?
You have lifetime partnerships here, yeah? Do you have lifetime, like Tracy has with Chinese, do you have them with Americans?
Well, besides Tracy, I have a lot of friends. Still have a lot of friends here. I have some friends still living in Houston, and my daughter is born in Houston. It's hard to say, but the campaign.
How tall is she?
Huh?
I asked
How tall is your daughter? I mean, your mother, I know, was
It's
quite tall.
185 centimeter. I'm not sure how much inches.
185? 1 meter 85?
You know what's funny? I actually go to China, more to China than he comes to the States. You don't love us no more, y'all? No, I'm joking.
You haven't been here in 4 years, right?
Yeah.
You got to get these, he's the head of Chinese basketball.
When you're in China, are you recognized on the street?
Y'all want to answer that for Steve?
Are you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I am. I've built up a pretty big following in China.
Having spent the last 2 days with Yao, he is recognized on the street here.
Yao is recognized anywhere.
It's remarkable. I mean, there are not many folks with the level of recognition that you have.
No, and a great human being at that, though.
We got some young people in the audience who want to have international basketball careers. What would you tell them? what would you tell both Chinese and Americans who are interested in basketball? What should they want to be stars, what should they do?
Well, I grew up in a town in Central Florida of 10,000 people. And, you know, my surroundings of where I grew up in a drug-infested neighborhood. And never in a million years would I have thought that I will have the opportunity to have business in China, yet alone be friends with somebody like Yao, as monumental and, you know, inspiring as he is. But now I've always been a curious kid, you know. When things happen in my neighborhood and I get wind of it, I'm the first one to run out of the house to see what's going on. Just that curiosity. But I think for those kids is just have the curiosity of wanting to learn. I mean, that's how you learn. That's the growth, and getting to know, you know, different cultures, food, you know, how they prepare for the game of basketball, what we love dearly. So for me, it's just, you know, have that curiosity, and you know, I'm a prime example of that. China really has changed my life, changed my family's life, with the extended version of, you know, the business opportunities. So I would never, you know, waver from that. I always have that curiosity of wanting to learn and learn more.
Yeah, what do you want to tell young people?
I agree with Max said, curiosity. People say play basketball is for fun, and you have to love the basketball to play better. But you know, the basketball will bring you to a life trip that it's full of interesting story. That you have to be curiosity about what you're going to meet in next steps, and don't be afraid to take the next steps. Always take the next one and next one and next one. For that, you will meet your next teammate or opponent. You are going to the next level that you may getting better. You may go into next country to foreigner, whether European or Asia in China or whatever. The curiosity will keep you going.
Is there another Yao Ming out there among the 1.4 billion Chinese? Are we going to see another Yao Ming, the person who brought really basketball to China, the NBA to China, who really had this remarkable impact? Is there one in the junior leagues, so to speak?
We have a lot of talented kids. But we just need to put more attention, more patience on them, and also pay more attention on them to scout them, to help them to develop their talent into. I think the sky's the limit.
Here's a question which I don't think you've been asked before. How can sports help rebuild U.S.-China relations, which is what we've been talking about how with the government relationship, the government-to-government relationship so deeply challenged, we've been talking about people-to-people relationships, rebuilding U.S.-China relations kind of from the bottom up. So my question for both of you is, how can sports help do that?
I think when countries come together, build that bridge of playing together. Playing together brings engagement. Engagement brings connections, and those connections can lead to, partnerships, friendships, and it's all about playing together. And I think. If you look at, myself, where I come from, my background, where Yao comes from, his background, but we have that one thing in common, and that's that round ball and passion for it. And, we truly love that, and it doesn't matter, his religion, his beliefs, none of that really matters, but us just really putting our mind together for that common goal and trying to achieve that. And I think, when we do that, build those bridges and come and play together, it could solve any issue.
Yeah, how can we rebuild?
Well, I would say that only through sports we can seek sportsmanship. The sportsmanship is like, when we recognize that we are opponents on the basketball court or any sports field, but sometimes I don't know if Mac, you agree with me. Sometimes we know a lot of best friends from doing our competition because we respect each other.
I don't fraternize. I don't fraternize. It could be my cousin. If we about to play, I don't fraternize. But go ahead.
Okay. So that when you play in your best level, you wish you have an opponent on the court that can match against you, that can push yourself into your limit. And only through your best opponent you can find the best for yourself. And that is, I think, when the game is over, the result come, we still respect each other.
Which is kind of what you could say about U.S.-China relations going forward. That we have to maintain that respect. We have to have rules of the road. It should be great. I want to thank the both of you. Now, why this bull suddenly showed up was I would shoot it for the first time in 50 years now. Love you guys to each autograph it, and it will be kind of a memory of both this evening and of what sports diplomacy can do. As you know, we hosted the Chinese ping pong team in 1972, and we helped change the direction of U.S.-China relations. And in a lot of ways, basketball is the ping pong of 50 years ago. That the enthusiasm that Chinese have, mostly because of Yao and because of Tracy, the enthusiasm that Chinese have for basketball and the NBA helps bring the two countries together.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to do that in my own way. I'm real big on giving people an opportunity. Just based off of, me sitting in this seat today, someone gave me an opportunity and gave me a platform to be able to make a name for myself. So I created a one-on-one basketball league to where, because of my partnership with China, and I know how big and impactful basketball is in the country of China, I wanted to bring a platform that hasn't been built yet through one-on-one, to give that opportunity for those players here in the United States that would probably never get the opportunity to go to China and play against the Chinese players, and bring those Chinese players over as well. So I'm very heavily involved in the youth space, and that's the bridge that I'm building to, spark those relationships. So yeah, I'll sign.
Well, if everybody would join me in thanking Yao and Tracy for a wonderful discussion and for what they've done. Thank you both. Woo! And there is a dessert reception in the back, I'm told.
What we do, throw this in the crowd?
Yeah. That'd be great. Thanks. Thank you. That was great.
Thank you, Steve.